another podcast. I'm Stephanie. There is Maggie from Oh You're Lovely. Our podcast is kind of a crapshoot of just all the fun things that happen running a business, being women, being moms, all that fun stuff. And today's topic is how to deal with criticism in the public.
Yes.
So that's a fun one.
If you have any kind of business that has an online aspect or anywhere online that people can write reviews about your business, you most likely will run into this. So, and I want to say we don't always want to talk about negative stuff, but we want to be here to walk you guys through like hardships because it just happens. And for me personally, and I think Stephanie too, a lot of times we're like, why don't people talk about this? You never hear about how to deal with this because it can be hard and confusing. And Stephanie and I, over the last 4 years, have grown very, 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 very thick skin. But it took a long time and a lot of tears to get there.
Mm-hmm. I'm personally still having some issues with over in the TikTok world because that's a completely different place, especially on TikTok Live, because we were just able to start doing that, and I've done one, and it was terrifying and it's a different kind of like, I don't know, it's a whole nother world. So it's more of a creepy vibe than a hurting my feelings vibe.
All right, I'm going to kick this off by saying that, working in a female dominated industry, which obviously craft supplies and florals are, is amazing and beautiful really most of the time. But there's an underbelly to that, and it gets hard, and women can get very mean to other women. And I think, Stephanie, I want to say, for me as a consumer, in my life, I have probably only posted 2 negative reviews that I can ever remember. And it wasn't only until I talked directly to the business owner and it was horrible. What we have found on our path in this little, niche we have is that there's a lot of cattiness and there's a lot of groups of people, and people have come after us on social media that know nothing about us, or they've ordered 1 time 1 dozen flowers, never complained about anything, but then blasted us on social media. And then when we try to connect with them in a very nice way, it's crickets. So it's obviously when stuff like that happens. So I think let's just start there. Somebody orders something and then they blast you on social media, but there's no track record of any complaints from the customer. Stephanie, how do we usually deal with that?
I think there's 2 avenues, and it probably depends on our mood that day. Sometimes it's, you gotta just let it roll off your back, and it's their issue. It's not anything that, they might have an issue with us as a company, but have never said anything, or it's personal. They just don't like us for whatever reason, which is fine. Mm-hmm. I don't need everybody to like me. But at the same time, when you're attacking our business, it's a little bit different than a personal attack on myself or on Maggie. So sometimes you just let it go because there's not really anything. It's not going to solve anything. They're not going to change their mind of how they feel about you. But every once in a while, if we're in the mood, we'll reach out just because we want to make it right.
Right, we do.
But we do. If there was an actual issue, give us the chance to make it right. But also it's just kind of we see you, we know what's going on. Can we just squash whatever it is? Can we figure out what's going on? But normally when we reach out, every once in a while, if it's a genuine, true concern, they will go, oh, thank you so much, or this is what happened, or blah, 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 blah. It's not a big deal. Right. But it's then why did you post about it if it was not that big of a deal? So those are normally the 2.
I will say, and I'm going to piggyback on some of that, and I will say within this little segment of what we're talking about, there's kind of 2 different things that happen. Like what Stephanie said is maybe in some of these Facebook groups, somebody will say something really horrible. We don't find any track record of complaints. We contact them, we get it worked out. Sometimes they even delete their comments because like, oh, guys, you guys are great. There's another segment of people who I literally just do it to be assholes, because we reach out, there's crickets, they don't want to talk about anything, but they go on to like bash us. And at that point, it's super obvious what's going on. So they get blocked from our group. And we talked about this in an earlier podcast, but if it gets really, really, really out of control and it goes on for months or years or something, and we've tried to reach out, they keep talking shit, we just won't sell to them anymore. But that's only happened once. We've only fired one person. And for me, it's like, you can write all these negative things about our company and then you want us to send you stuff in the mail after I've tried to talk to you and you won't talk. No, I don't want your money. Like, we're like, I don't need it, and you don't get to have my quality products. Like, you don't get. So that kind of talks about somebody's ordered and said trash, try to clear it up, or it doesn't work out. I think another thing that's happened and that we should talk about, so in our little industry, there's a bunch of different Facebook groups. It's great. We're in most of them. I will say, when we first started business, there was somebody in our industry who was very dramatic and liked drama and stirred up a bunch of shit and had a little following. And we would get talked shit about for literally no reason. And in the beginning, we would block those people from our group. Because if you're going to, like, for absolutely no reason, say stuff about us, about our products or our character or our attitudes, because we're pretty bubbly. Like, the podcast is the only place you're going to see us talk about real shit. Like, our face on social media is positive and bubbly and friendly. So any attacks on that, those kind of things for no reason, and it's coming in an ugly, negative way, like, there's no room for you in our little world. But what's funny about that stuff is then people get their panties in a water. Like, why'd you block me from your group? What the fuck do you think?
Why do you want to be in the group? You obviously don't like us. So what's the point? Like, why do you need to be in there? Like, whatever is happening within our group is happening. Like, I mean, there are special things that we do within the group, and there's different ways that we interact with our customers and people that enjoy, you know, our personalities and things like that. But for the most part, like, it's an interesting thing, and then that fuels their fire even more.
Yeah. Then it's like as war. Then they're like a war on us.
Yeah.
And for Stephanie and I, we find all these situations uncomfortable and funny and dumb all at the same time, because the reality of how we run our business is, if we make a mistake, we desperately want to make it right. Correct. So if we've made a mistake and you're not giving us a chance to make it right, like, it's really not fair. And we don't make a lot of mistakes. I'll tell you, for the size of business we are, we have very, 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 very little customer issues. We just don't. And I've worked at craft-based, internet-based companies that are bigger than ours, and we had to have one full-time and 2 part-time people handle customer service. And right now, it's mainly Stephanie and I a little bit, and the other Maggie does wholesale. But it's very, very, very little.
Correct. And usually it's like random things, like, I forgot to put my coupon code in. What can you do about that? We're not perfect, and we things like mistakes. That, or answering questions.
You know, we're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we desperately want to make it right. You know, so if you have a small business and you're in the same kind of way, like, you just want it to be right, you want your customers to be happy, and then people still complain, it hurts. You know, I'm not gonna lie, it does hurt.
And I'll say too, when we reach out to people, we never get nasty.
Oh,
we check our tone over and over. I especially, because I tend to get a little bit more matter of fact when there's things that come up. I don't want any question or something to be read in between the lines. So I'm very matter of fact, which then I send it to Maggie and go, help me. Help me make this a little bit nicer, but still get our point across about certain things. I think too, when we approach someone, say when it is a situation on like talking smack about us, like within a group or something, and we reach out, we never go in being super, what's the word I'm
combative.
looking
We
for?
don't go in combative.
Yeah.
No.
We check our feelings at the door. We're not gonna like come in and try to like explain ourselves right from the get, because we don't even know what the issue is with us or with our product that has that person in a tizzy. We just want to know the information so that we can, if it's something that we can make better or right, we do. But yeah, we never go in like guns a-blazing, ready to like fight somebody. That is not how we handle things. We've talked about it from the start of our company. We were never going to go in the mud, and we don't drag things out either. Once it's done and done, or there's no way we can find a compromise, we're moving on. Yeah. We're not holding on to that. But at the same time, we have our boundaries, and those boundaries mean, okay, well, we're not going to include you in the community that we're a part of because you've made it very clear that you do not want to be a part of our community. Or if you do, it's just so that you can keep fueling whatever fire it is that you have against us.
So I'm going to talk, Stephanie, do you mind? I think I want to talk about in our niche of the craft industry, maybe some ways other businesses deal with stuff and why it's like really not okay. And there's one in particular that it really, really, really chaps my hide. And I'm going to explain why. And I'm not going to name any names because we're not going to do that here. But I think talking about...
And we can say that we've had interactions with these companies, but we've also had like customers reach out and share that information.
Yes, tons of customers.
So it is a little hearsay, but we feel I do very good in the information that was provided to us, given what we already know.
And I think it's important because this is the underbelly of what a business can do. And I'm going to tell people why it bothers me after I explain what they do. So there's one company in particular who has created this bubble of bullying people who aren't happy with either their employees or their products or both or the service. So what they do is if somebody says something negative, they get super nasty. And we've seen piles of screenshots sent to us by customers that we share where they immediately go to, we're calling our lawyer and we're going to sue you for defamation. When it's just somebody trying to work out an issue they've had. And what has happened is now people know this, so people aren't super willing to complain or say something publicly. But it's intimidation and bullying. And these are women who, the majority of them, are trying to sell things they make with the products they're buying. And for them to be treated like that when they have simple complaints that could easily be fixed is disgusting to me. And I hate it. And every time I get a message from a mutual customer with screenshots of this, I just want to scream. It is bullying. There's no other way around it. We are grown-ass women. And if we're not happy with service or product, we should be able to talk to a company about it. Just like we with open arms desperately want to make things right. And I feel that's a very basic, like if you own a business and you deal with people, you should want to do that. Not attack people and threaten to sue them for defamation. I'm sorry, it disgusts me. And I believe it really bothers me.
Most of the issues in particular with that company is it's issues or mistakes that they've made but refuse to take
accountability.
There's no accountability. It's always the customer's fault.
Always.
Or it's something they're not aware of as far as how the industry works, and then speak down to the customer of being like, how did you not know that, there are certain things that happen, especially with our product, that people are not aware of. Like, they are actually wood, and wood flowers means that sometimes there's going to be a hole in it because there's a knot in the wood, or sometimes there's going to be a little bit of bark left over. Sometimes there's going to be veining because that's the wood grain. But when it comes to those kind of things and there's a complaint about it, that's the time to educate your customer, not to talk down and make them feel bad for not knowing the information. And also as a company, it makes you go, okay, how can I, or it should make you go, how can I get that information across better to our customers? Which is why on every single one of our listings, we have a lot of those frequently asked questions so that our bases are covered. Now we can only do so much for people. If they're not willing to read the information provided, there's nothing we can do about that. But when they come back and if they have an issue with it, then you talk to them like a normal human being. You don't like just start to attack them and make them feel dumb.
And Stephanie, you're going to remember these two when I bring them up, but 2 instances with this company that really stick out to me. One was a really long time ago, but a mutual customer of ours
I know exactly which one you're going to talk about.
Got filler from them, dried preserved filler, and it had worms. It had bug larvae, which I'm going to tell you, dried filler and preserved, there's a chance you're going to get bugs. We have never had the issue. But it does exist in our supplier, the farms we buy from. They're super clear with me. They're like, you have to check when you get your order, you have to check it in 3 days. You know, if you see bugs, it's a thing that happens. So this lady got all this dried filler and it had worms all over it. And they threatened to sue her for defamation. Like, I don't even...
And told her it was... Well, and even said that it was like she must have done something or stored it improperly, or like they took no claim that they possibly could ever have sent out something that was fresh that was then dried. Bugs happen. Like things happen as far as there's fumigation and stuff to try to alleviate that from happening, but it's a natural product. So what could have been fixed as a, oh my gosh, let us refund you the $20 or whatever, and it's done, versus you're in the wrong, we're going to sue you, and then like berate the person sending them nonstop messages and just make them feel like the smallest person possible and terrified to ever speak up about that company ever again because of how much they bullied them.
Here's the other thing that company does, and I think it stems from one person that works for them. When stuff gets really heated with a customer, they send their friends to go comment on their business, the complainant's business page, which is another form of bullying. There's no, and I'm going to swear, there is no fucking situation that would exist that is called for, period. I don't care how much you hate someone or their business. You don't send your girlfriends to go berate them and leave horrible reviews and horrible disgusting comments when there is no personal issue with them. I'm sorry. I
can't. I have a really hard time just because I would never, ever be like, hey, Maggie, this person, like, whatever, go talk smack about them. Please, can you just say these things or what up? Like, come on.
And
adults. And that's also someone's livelihood.
Yes,
why are you messing with someone's livelihood
over something that could have been
come on
under $100? Why are you like? It is the lowest of the low. Like there is, I don't know. I'm such a compassionate, loving person. I just don't understand the mentality of why they make decisions like that. And the other story I want to tell about them, and I'll be really quick, is like even on their Facebook reviews. Like I don't know, within the last 6 months, a mutual customer again posted pictures and complained about mold on their flowers. And this was the second time. And you should read the comments on that review. She got her asshole torn left and right by all these people that like support this one person that works for them. The thing is there was mold on her flowers and they should have fixed it. And she was, torn apart by other people and threatened to be sued for defamation.
Yeah.
If you don't want people to leave reviews on your Facebook page, your Facebook business page, remove the reviews tab because you can do that and just be on. Anyways, I'm sorry. And I'm not, I know I'm in a soapbox, but this is something very heated for me. I just don't like bullying, verbal abuse, anything. And this, I just don't understand how this is continuing to happen um, in this female oriented industry. I just don't understand it, and I hate it, and I wish it would stop.
I do too.
But
I do too. Okay. I mean, there's definitely, when it comes to like, as a consumer, if you have an issue with a company and you've reached out and it is not solved, or they brush you off, you absolutely, I think, have the right to just speak up and let other people be aware of the situation and your story.
yes.
At the same time, if you've reached out and the company has done, what they feel is the best compromise, and you're still upset, the company then has every right to say, we see, we've talked already. Here's how we solved the issue. We're sorry that you're not satisfied with that resolution or whatever. What do you suggest, Maggie, if you say you're a new company and you get your first bad review? What do you suggest people do? The first bad review they've got, like, what would you do? Like, now, with what you know now, how would you handle that first, not so great review?
Don't freak out is number one.
Yeah. I was going to say breathe.
Try not to cry.
Bring your emotions down.
And I really honestly would wait 24 to 48 hours to answer until you've slept and you've calmed down a little bit, because a lot of this can happen on the keyboard.
And you gotta do
give yourself 24 to 48 hours. It's funny because the just very, very few negative reviews we have, they're all, I don't know what I should say. I feel like they are all unnecessary, but again, we allow reviews. So, again, Stephanie and I have grown very, very thick skin over the last 4 years, and we used to get emotional and just so upset, and like we talk about stuff all night long when it's like one little thing, and it's not like that anymore. It's like, oh shit, like that's about it, so it's hard for me to tell. Stephanie, what would you do if you're a small business and you get your first bad review?
Yeah, I would definitely say just take it, absorb it, try to disconnect any emotions from it. So take it just as face value. What are the facts and what are the emotions the other person's having, which is just opinions. Like what actually, and like, it kind of depends on what the review itself is. Like if they're claiming that they reached out to you, or they feel it's overpriced, or the quality, whatever it is, like break it down and really look at it for what it is. Are they just venting to vent? Is there an actual issue? Did they reach out and you thought it was resolved and it wasn't? Did they never reach out? Like all of those things. And then, I mean, we're very lucky because we have each other to bounce things off of. If it was just me in the situation, I'd probably talk to my husband or some of my close friends. What are you giggling about?
Well, I didn't think that's what you were going to say. I thought you were going to say you would just cry. That you would just cry about it.
Not anymore. At the beginning, probably. I'd either cry or get really mad and like frustrated, and I could feel it in my body. Like whenever I get upset, like I feel like my whole body is shaking, even though it's not, but it feels like my whole body is shaking. But now, for the most part, every once in a while I still get those, but for the most part, no, I would suggest talking to somebody else and see, maybe they see something in that comment that you're missing, and then try to resolve it the best you can. At the same time, though, you can just ignore if it's something about, like, I've had people talk about my eyebrows. That was one that I got really mad
I forgot about that.
Do you remember that?
I do now.
Like, people have made comments about how I look, things like that. And for the most part, I usually joke and tease about my own things, like, because I say words wrong all the time, and all sorts of other weird things and quirks about me. And I typically just make jokes about it, so those things don't really hurt me, but sometimes every once in a while, like someone, there was one time I had one where it was like, I don't like the sound of her voice. Well, then don't listen.
Then don't listen.
It's not that deep. Like, there's a million people that you can watch on whatever you will find entertainment or tutorials elsewhere. If I'm not your cup of tea, that's fine. It's the fact that people feel so bold to be able to say that and try to tear somebody else down that I almost feel sorry for people.
Oh, yeah.
Now.
I don't get it, Steph. I just don't get it.
I don't understand. Like, why waste the energy?
I know. Move on. Yeah, what's the positive that's going to come out of that?
Nothing. I don't even think you feel good about it after the fact either.
No.
Like, I don't know. I don't understand that. So I would say when you have something like that, where someone's just trying to be mean, either you can acknowledge and kind of rib a little bit or like give them crap back. Like, I see you and you're mean. Or just ignore them. Just ignore. Like, that's not beneficial in any way for either of you. So just catch and release, so to speak, and just let it, just move on.
So Steph, I think we've already been talking for 27 minutes. I think I want to talk about,
I know that's kind of,
there's a couple situations where, like, let's say Amazon, we can't reply to people's reviews on Amazon, can we?
I don't think so. I think we can only reply to questions about the product, possibly.
Here's what's weird about, so we sell on Amazon, that's no secret. It's one of the buckets, one of our mini buckets. But what's weird about
we have an episode.
What's weird about Amazon is that I find there's a majority of people who order on Amazon who this is their first exposure to solo wood flowers. And what chaps my hide is a handful of time people have been like, these aren't wood, they're foam. And leave a review like that. And I'm like, they're wood. And this is what solo wood feels like. Like, those kind of things bother me. Or like on Amazon, somebody orders the mini assortment and they're like, the flower's only 1 and 1.5 inches big. And I'm like, yeah, that's what you ordered. But on that platform, there's no recourse for us. There's no conversation between the customer. So for me, I don't get emotional about those. I just get frustrated about that process because I don't have control over the situation.
Correct.
And in that sense,
and I don't even know. I would say I have to look into their terms of service. Like, if you could even message that person and be like, try to resolve the issue that way, because they're kind of just sticklers on a lot of that stuff. I think Etsy is different. Like, if somebody leaves a review, you can respond back, especially if it's, I don't think we do it very often, but every once in a while, if it's like a critical review, it would make sense. I don't even know if we've had one.
I was just going to say, on Etsy, I don't think we've had any under 5-star reviews.
No. And then we have we have reviews on the actual website itself too, and we get notifications when those come through, so we can reach out to somebody. Sometimes, I don't know why some people feel though that the only way they can get a company's attention is by giving a product like a 1 or 2 star review when they've never messaged, emailed, any of that stuff, to give us a chance to fix the issue. That is kind of weird to me, but it is what it is. And then we normally will reach out to them to figure out, what we can do to solve the issue if it is an actual issue and not just I want to give you 1 star because I feel like it kind of person.
So, Steph, I know it hasn't happened very much at all, but on our YouTube channel, how do you handle negative or creepy stuff?
So YouTube's great in a couple different ways when it comes to the comments. There is a filter you can add. So we actually get a lot of spam and troll comments because of a because of the word would in a lot of our product or a lot of our descriptions. So there's this like scam type thing of a website, and you'll get people commenting nonstop. So you can actually filter out certain words and then they won't show up at all. So I've done that for those kind of situations. For creepy people, I typically, because I get notifications of the comments, and I'm slower to respond on YouTube comments too. But what I'll do is I'll go, Maggie, look at this one. And then I delete it. Like, I am not going to keyboard warrior or try to like defend myself in that. If you're not interested in the content that I'm creating, or you want to tell me that I'm dumb or I did it wrong, and it's just to say, you're so dumb. Like, you're not helping me. No. You're not helping anybody else watching the video. Why am I dumb? What did I do that is something that, like, if there is a honest, true, like, I do this and this works well for me kind of comment, I will respond back. Thank you so much for your feedback. I'll have to try that sometime. Right. Like, I don't care if you want to critique me in that way or to share your experience. Mm-hmm. That's just great for everybody involved. It's the ones where there's no helpful kind of context to it. I delete those. And typically too, if someone's being just nasty, they're just blocked from, you can block people. They can't even see your channel anymore. I don't want your sub count. I don't want that person there. Like, I'm not going to give you any more fuel to it. So you can't find us anymore. You have no access to us. So that's what I do with that. I'm pretty like, I have really strict boundaries on YouTube. I think YouTube and TikTok are a little bit different. Like, so far the comments on TikTok have been very nice. I haven't had anything kind of crazy to happen, but those are kind of wild, wild west kind of platforms in some ways. I feel like with Facebook, unless you've created a full on like burner account, fake account, which people do, it happens, just be aware. Like, it's nothing. People do that just to then be able to troll other people. Right. But on Facebook, for the most part, people are a little bit more, well, maybe this isn't true, because in certain spaces, they're still really nasty. But in our world, for the most part, people are pretty nice because you have some accountability. Like, people can look you up. They can see who's your like friends and family are if you haven't locked it all down. Whereas on TikTok and YouTube, you have no idea who that person is. Right. Like, you can't really put a face to it. So people feel a little bit more boldened to just be crappy, unfortunately.
You know, I feel like even though we've kind of held our cool through this conversation, I just have to admit that, like, just don't be an asshole on social media. Just don't be that person. Go to a company directly, and don't be like the company we were talking about where you bully people and threaten to sue them over just leaving an honest review.
I could never. Ever. I might be so frustrated and upset with somebody. Yes. I would never in a million years do some of the things that I've seen other companies do. No. Never. No. And I'm still flabbergasted by it that it's even happening. Like, that makes no sense to me at all.
It happens so much. I am so tired of getting screenshots of private conversations with the owner of the other company or the one employee that seems to be in control of a lot of stuff. Like, we see things. Mutual customers send us stuff. So we see it directly what's happening. This isn't hearsay. Like, we have seen these things. I get so sick over it because it just, you guys, like, there's just no reason for it. Like, pull your fucking big girl panties up and do the right thing and treat your customers right. Don't send out shitty product. And if you do on accident, fucking fix it. That is the most basic thing if you're a product-based business. Like, there is no in-between. There's no gray area. But for some reason for them, there's a gray area that involves them bullying people. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't stand it.
I think, if anything, it's helped me recognize when we have a customer that is a little bit more forceful, doesn't want to basically, like, comes in ready to fight, and like just the starting of an email of an issue. Yeah. I've grown to understand that it's probably because they've had bad situations with other companies in the past. Like, we might not be able to Like, if you have an issue with an order, we're not going to always just say, you know what, your order's taken care of. Don't worry about it. Go about your day. That's not always going to happen. It's going to depend on the situation and what the issue is and all of that stuff. But we're never going to like ignore somebody. We're never going to make them feel bad about the feelings that they're having.
No.
We're never going to not try to do something that is within our own structures and boundaries that we've created as a company. Like, we've tried to already plan for any issues. Like, what is our normal, like, how do we handle these things? Is there an issue with something's missing from the order? Okay, well, we have a couple different options that we can give to a customer, and they get to pick which they want to do. Sometimes it's like, well, there's only one thing that we can do, so we're not going to give options, but this is what we can do. And then we can go from there. If they're not happy with that situation, well, sometimes it's like, well, that's what we can offer you. Like, we also don't want to be taken advantage of, but if we make a mistake, we're going to fix it.
Because we want
and sometimes even some of those mistakes.
Our souls need to fix it. Stephanie and I need to make wrongs right. Like, it's not, there's no gray area. If we've wronged, and again, like, we're talking about, like, it might sound like there's all these issues, but like, there's really not. Like I said, the amount of customer service we have for the size of business is microscopic compared to other companies I've worked with. That's because we do so much in the warehouse and on the website to mitigate issues, like, because we just don't want them.
We don't want to deal with customer service issues.
No.
So we do everything within our power to try to make it as cut and dry as possible so mistakes don't happen, but they do on occasion. Like, we're humans. Like, we are not robots. We're packing orders one by one. Like,
a horrible idea. We should make mugs and t-shirts that say # we don't bully our customers. Maybe you should put that in the title of this podcast. # we don't bully our customers.
# we don't bully our customers. That's a good one. Actually, we should.
Anybody want a mug that says # we don't bully our customers? Because we might make some if you guys want them.
Oh, we get some merch going.
Anyway,
I mean, we've always been people keep asking us to make t-shirts and mugs. Right. That'll be our voyage. #
I don't think that's what they're asking for. The # we don't bully our customers.
I know, I don't think so either.
I'm feeling
that's it's our new tagline. I'm gonna run a Facebook ad tomorrow.
Okay, you guys. I feel like that was a little bit of a rabbit hole, and I appreciate people who listen to the whole thing and kind of heard us and let us get some of that off of our chest, because 99% of this is to help inform you guys and walk you through stuff, but there's some pain points for us of stuff that bother us. So I appreciate you listening and hearing us, and
I hope it's helpful. I mean, there's some good nuggets in there of actual use of what to do. It's easier said than done, especially in the beginning. But just keeping your calm and trying to disconnect the emotions, because that's the part that it doesn't need to get in there to solve the problem.
Correct.
Like, you can go after the fact and go vent to your best friends and your significant other or whoever is your sounding board of like, oh my God, let me tell you this day. Right. Or let me tell you the crazy like request we got or whatever. But in the moment, keep your cool and it'll be fine.
I want to say one more thing.
# don't bully your customers.
If you're watching this, a while after it's been published, there's a skeleton behind Stephanie because it's Halloween season right now. So I don't want you guys to think there's something weird going on. But there's a skeleton back there because it's time to decorate for Halloween. We're not weird. We don't collect skeletons. Well,
yes, we do.
But I just saw that over your shoulder. I was like, oh my God, it's been there the whole time.
Red. I love that. One, I am weird, and two, yes, I collect skeletons because there's a whole bunch more y'all can't see on camera. It's only August, y'all. I know it's early, but it's spooky season for me in my heart. It started in July, so.
Definitely, I put up my Halloween decorations in the house last night.
Oh yeah, see, I even got little spooky nails going already. I love spooky time, but yeah, he'll be gone in a couple of months.
All right, ladies.
And then it'll be a Christmas tree.
We love you guys.
All right. I think that was helpful. I think so. If you have any questions or a topic that you would like to have us chat about, you can send us an email at podcast@ohyourlovely.com. You can also message us on Facebook, Instagram, all the places if you'd like. And we'll see you guys soon-ish. We've been posting kind of every other week, but this summer's been a little bit weirder. Yeah. But we have more coming down the pipeline. So we will see you and talk to you guys later. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.